business owners and executives from around the Valley. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Good morning, and thank you for watching Business Leaders here at KMPH Fox 26. My name is Lance Cardoza, and I'd like to thank our sponsor, Flooring Liquidators, for making this episode and all of our episodes here at Business Leaders possible. You can catch this episode and other episodes by going to businessleaders.tv or joining us right here every morning, Tuesday morning at 11. On my program this week from Career Nexus, he's I would say a good friend. I see him everywhere around town. He's very involved and been involved with business and helping, I think, people connect to get them into the workforce and do that with his business. We'll find out more. But Kurt is the CEO. It's Kurt Madden with Career Nexus. Thank you for being on my program, Business Leaders.
Great to be here.
Yeah, I see you everywhere.
I do get around. I think maybe it's an ADHD thing or something, but I seem to want to move a lot.
You want to keep an ear close to the ground. See who the movers and shakers are and see what's coming up next.
Yep, there's a lot going on in Fresno, and I love it.
So talk to me about the organization, Career Nexus, and how it was formed and what you do today on the day-to-day.
Sure. So we have looked for a number of years about the workforce, and there always seemed to be kind of a problem between high school or college and getting into that first career. Yeah. And in other countries, they have internships everywhere. In our country, internships seem to be kind of focused on that top 5% of seniors in college who are going to be accountants or attorneys, and they go into those things. And so we started looking, saying, that's internship idea is a great bridge from education into careers. And so we said, let's look into this thing. We found that the average age of a community college student is 28 years old. Now you think you graduate from high school, you go right into community college.
Yeah.
But what happens is that we have a lot of young adults that do other stuff, dead-end jobs, no jobs, whatever, for about 10 years, and then they start going, you know what, I'm not living at home anymore. I got to figure out how to have a career, and so they go back to community college. Apprenticeships, the average age is 29, same kind of thing.
Wow,
so there's that decade in there, and so we thought, let's target that 17, 18-year-old to about 28-year-old, and let's see if we can build some bridges. We focused on low-income young adults, ones who maybe don't have the benefits of college and see if we can be a bridge past some of the barriers and obstacles into quality employers that have an upward path. Like we really don't deal with folks that have dead-end jobs.
Yeah.
I know there's lots of them that will take kind of that entry-level position, but our focus is to get them in somewhere
a career path
where they can go up.
So it's almost like a dreamer's vortex. It's like they get into that just out of high school and they think they're going to be the next Beyonce or they're going to be the next Warren Buffett, and maybe they probably don't even know who Warren Buffett is, but they're going to chase some huge dreams, and as we all did in our young ages, and we all of a sudden have that reality check.
Yeah.
I just had a gentleman, JT from Real Brokers, who was on the program. He was a fighter and did really well, and then one day his father told him, instead of fighting, I'd like to see you, instead of being there being paid to fight, I'd like to see you be the guy that owned the arena. And it clicked.
That's what it takes. It's just that moment where somebody says, I want to do this.
Yeah, or you can. You can, and now it's like the recovery of your life. You figure out, okay, what do I need to do next with my life to find that career?
That's right.
So your organization is helping put plans in place and that process. How does that work?
Come into that entry-level position.
Yeah.
We used to call it starting in the mail room, but I don't know if there's mail rooms anymore. So whatever that entry-level position is, and as long as there's an upward path, then we're good. I worked at President Unified for 15 years, and I saw folks that might start as a 2-hour-a-day yard duty person.
Yeah.
And in 10, 15 years, they're working downtown, making 6 figures, and have 50 people reporting to them. So, those kinds of industries, those kinds of places, we look for and work to place folks in.
Beautiful. That reminds me of a story of Derek Franks with the Grizzlies. Came in as an intern, Now, 17 years later, he's got stake in the company and is the president and running the company. So had that upward career in sports entertainment.
Most of our folks that don't have much of a college degree, they don't have a college degree, or they have just a few do, some are in college, but sometimes when they get out of college, they think, okay, I'm going to start in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
But I didn't start at the middle. I started at the bottom. Everybody I talked to, regardless of degree, seemed to have started at the bottom and moved up.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of positions down there that don't require a ton of skills. They require, I talked to an employer, and he says, I've got a dozen entry-level positions, and I have 4 criteria. I said, what is that? He says, show up, okay, show up every day, okay, show up on time, and show up ready to work. I thought, okay, so basically show up.
Show up.
But he goes, I can't find people that want to show up every day.
Yeah, that's a challenge. And some of them are sitting here on Tuesday morning watching my program, wallowing in what's for me, what's next for me. And this is your turn. And you might be watching the program here, Business Leaders, and you know that person. And sometimes they have to make that decision, that's like right. you said. And when they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or they're stuck in the job that's that they're looking for the career path, they need to look at organizations like Career Nexus and other organizations that are focusing on getting people into careers here. And it only helps our valley.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I'm sure you had a lot of leaders, which I know some of them were surrounding around you saying, hey, Kurt, we want you to head this up because it's a desperate need in our valley. And then we're probably showing some good numbers and some good track record from that.
Yes. Last year was our first full year, and we only do paid internships. Studies show that unpaid internship really doesn't do anything for the employer or the intern.
Yeah.
So we committed ourselves and found the funds so far to get paid internships. They're 200 hours long, so most of them are about half time, so it's about 2.5 months. But usually by that time, by that time, an employer says, this young adult shows up every day, they get along with people, they work hard, and they hire them. They don't need to go find somebody for that spot.
Kurt, we want to talk more about that. Kurt Madden here, the CEO of Career Nexus, talking about a solution to the problem. We've been, people get in that vortex of they get out of high school and they're not sure what they want to do, and they end up working in a job but not working into a job that is career path driven. And they'll talk about that. We'll be right back when we return. Welcome back to Business Leaders. It's that time of the year that we're reminding everybody to nominate somebody that you know that needs to be recognized for the 40 under 40. Go to the website 40 and make sure you nominate somebody for the 40 under 40 that deserves that recognition. And it sort of goes hand in hand with today's show, talking to the CEO of Career Nexus, Kurt Madden. And Kurt, you're forming some of those future 40 under 40 all-stars, as I call it, in our valley, to be able to get them on a career path, not only that they can be proud about, but they really could build that career that they want. And you talked about coming out of high school and there's this gap.
Right. 10-year gap.
10-year gap that they're not sure what they want to do, and then they end up in late 20s trying to figure it out.
Yeah, when you're living at home, and let's face it, there's a lot of young adults that are living at home until they're 25 or 30. Getting a small little dead-end part-time job that's all you need.
It's survivable.
But when you're going to start a family or move out, it changes pretty radically. So yeah, we hope that, and the thing is, our folks that come in, we really talk about this showing up every day.
Yeah.
And the ones who do that and who work are going to, end up in that 40 under 40, and I think that's great. Now, if you ever do a 90 under
90,
90,
yeah.
then I'm ready for that. You can, I'll
I get that a lot. You know, I remember, I think when Mayor Autry was in there, he said,
Oh, yeah.
when are you going to do a 60 over 60? And then it was, what are you going to do? I'm not going to give his age, but it just kept climbing. When are you going to do 65? Or it's like,
yeah.
I would always get that question. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep. No,
but our young professionals, and I've always wanted to recognize people that
think it's
really,
great. I think
and,
it's
and I
great.
love when I tell them that you're in the 40 under 40.
Yeah.
And at first they go, oh, there's somebody better than me. That's when you know that you found an honoree that needs to be recognized.
Yeah, those folks that want to be leaders, I'm always a little skeptical of that, right? Because maybe they don't understand the pressures and all the stuff that leadership takes.
Yeah.
But you know, there are, you know, a fairly small number of leaders, even in Fresno. You know, that's, you know, you and I see each other and see different places, and you know, it's maybe 1,000,
Yeah.
but it's probably not 5,000.
Yep.
You know, it's probably not 10,000. So it's a fairly small number, and being a leader is I remember hearing, I'll just do a short, an old saying is, a leader, you know, without followers is just someone out for a walk. And, you know, because it's not about the leader, it's about the team, right?
Yep.
It's you, if you're a leader, you're just one out of that one person in that whole cog and that whole team, and building that. And, you know, it used to be the old independent, you know, I can do it all myself. And these days what we're seeing is almost all these jobs require some sort of collaboration. Some kind of teamwork. The day of the individual contributor, you know, I'm sure there's still some spots for that, but most of us, if we have survived, it's because we figured out it's about the team.
And then collaboration amongst other organizations working together,
absolutely.
other businesses working together to achieve the goals that are in their best interest
exactly
to chase, you know. And I had it described to me before as a spoke in the wheel. And if a spoke is broken, it makes the wheel not as strong. So the center's got to be there, but every spoke represents that wheel.
Yep.
And there was an old professional wrestler that told me that we're all just a spoke in the wheel. Right. You know, so you have to be the strongest spoke you can be, kid. Right. You know, so it's like, you know, and it was true. Just like mentioned the kid that his father told him, I don't want you, you know, getting a payday. I want you to own the arena you're performing in. You know, that's when you got it.
And that's the kind of challenge. I think that it's very interesting. We see a lot of young adults who just, they don't believe that they can be more than they are.
Yeah.
And we placed, we've been working with the city of Fresno.
Yeah.
And so they took on, with a grant they had, in the last year they've taken on 100 interns. And those interns are making $17, $18 an hour. And now that program, we could have had the same folks we had. They could have just walked into the HR department at the city of Fresno, because they've always had internships, and said, I'd be interested in an internship. But it does not occur to them. And that's just like your example. I think there's the fighter, you know, it doesn't occur to him to own the arena.
Yeah.
I wish we had more of those types of inspirations and more inspirational moments where a person says, oh, I could do this. And I think part of that internship deal, you get in there in a place, City of Fresno, or a manufacturer or some organization, and you're an intern and you go, gosh, you know, I could do that job.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden something clicks and you say, I don't have to just do what I'm doing. There's a pathway.
There's a pathway. And maybe there's another position on the team that I can go get based on how much effort and work I put into this and be able to chase that dream. Yep. And then I think the biggest piece to a lot of this too is to be able to get into a position to where a lot of those people, they get stuck, and they're watching here on the program too, that you feel like, I got beat up for that decade out of high school, and I accepted that job, and I worked that job, and I was staying at home, and then they want more for themselves, whether it be, like you said, the family. They want to own a car. They want to have some independence. A lot of times they feel crushed because maybe they had a dream that they initially were chasing after, but had no plan to get there. And the one thing with Career Nexus, you sort of set up that plan
Right.
that here, if you give it your all and you show up, because that's a big one,
Right.
that you can chase some dreams and you can go after something that probably you didn't think was obtainable for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, we all, right? We all had dreams. We
Yeah.
all still hopefully have dreams, but it doesn't always work.
And we're going to be right back, Kurt. We're going to talk more about that. And I'm sure it's hitting home. There's somebody watching the program that knows somebody that you say this is what they should be doing, and they're in that time warp. We'll be right back with more Business Leaders. Welcome back, everybody, to Business Leaders here at KMPH Fox 26. And I want to remind you, if you want to catch this episode, if you missed something, or you want to share this with somebody, you can go to businessleaders.tv and catch Career Nexus, the CEO of Kurt Madden, on the website, and be able to share it with somebody that maybe they need to hear this message and talking about you're not by yourself. That if you're in that, what I call the career vortex or the dream vortex, or maybe the bubble was burst and you were in that just out of high school, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in your late 20s and you're saying, I need to get my act together, if you will, Kurt, and find out how do they get involved and connected, and businesses alike as well.
Yeah.
You might be a business looking at this going, how do I connect with those folks that are trying to get in that career path job? And I know there's many that are constantly looking for that.
At this time, it's kind of a weird time where employers are really trying to find people to work.
Yeah.
And I was talking to an employer a little while ago, and he posted a position. It was it was an entry level or just above entry level position. Had a bunch of applicants. He scheduled 9 interviews. 2 people showed up for the interviews. He had 4 positions that he wanted to fill, so he hired both of them. One showed up for 3 days and then ghosted him, and the other one never showed up. Now, so he likes Career Nexus because we get him an intern and we focus so much on the showing up that we take them through some soft skills, which is very important.
Yeah.
So we take them through soft skills, and through the soft skills, we also talk about showing up. So now they just, instead of trying to go through all those interviews, right, that takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, they've got somebody, they got them for 200 hours, they're going to get to see, and we're the employer of record. So we hire them, we cover the workers' comp and the liability stuff, so they go and work at the place for 200 hours, and then the employer can hire them or not. It doesn't matter. And the intern can say, I'm interested or not. And sometimes they say, I thought I wanted to work in a place like this, but now I know that I didn't. So for us, it saves employers a ton of time. We believe it's a win-win, and so we have employers sometimes will take 2 or 3 interns. Like I said, from that, it builds a farm team. That's kind of what we want to be, is this farm team where you can go and watch someone work. Because you can go and post these positions and then finally hire that one person, and 3 months down the road, you go, they were a great interview, but they are not a good fit for our company.
Yeah.
With an intern, you have them there for 2.5 months, you're going to know this is a good fit or not.
And you cover the 200 hours as Career Nexus. And how does a business, because someone's watching this right now as a business and they want to find out more information, how do I get enrolled, or the process that it takes?
There's numbers on the website. There's an interest form if the employer, so there's 2 main tabs on our careernexus.org.
Okay.
So that's the website, and if they go to there, there'll be an intern tab and an employer tab.
Perfect.
And interns, click on that, fill out a little interest form, and we'll get back to you within 24 or 48 hours. Same thing with the employer. If you can contact us by email, but you can fill out that little form, and once again, we'll connect with you. And we make the connections through a smartphone app. So once the intern's gone through the prep, then they get on and they can see the different positions that are available. The employer gets the opportunity to interview them if they want,
Yeah.
and make the connection and get started.
And go from there. Great. I mean, I can see many businesses that would need your help and be able to do this. And this is a great move by the team of people that came to you and said, we really want to do this, and we found funding to be able to put this to work. And do that.
It's a missing piece in really the larger economy in the country. There's really not this connection like there is. I mean, if you're in Europe, you go through those things and then you get into an internship. It's just part of what you do. So part of what we're trying to do is say, this is something we should do. This should be something when somebody graduates from high school, and we have students that get finished with their internship and now they know what they want to major in and they go to school.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get a job there so that they can go to school. So we just think that internship thing is a missing piece in our economy.
And I think I talk to a lot of young people, and especially young entrepreneurs, and they're trying to figure it out, and they want advice. And one of the things I've always told them is, go intern, get involved. You don't know what you don't know until you don't know. And you have to get in to find out that, I don't want to be the guy that answers the phone. And then all of a sudden they're answering the phone and they meet this guy and then this lady, and then all of a sudden things start to change for you in the outlook of that position.
You got to get in.
You got to get in, and once you're there, you'll find out what you thought you knew might be something different. And a lot of people think, it's a lot of work, and they think about all the negative, and it's not as, and I've had a very wise man tell me this, when things are bad, they're not as bad as you think they are. And when things are good, they're not as good as you think they are, but you won't know until you get in to find out what you don't know.
We had a gal that did one welding class in high school. She started as a warehouse assistant. In 3 or 4 days, they found out she liked welding. So they took her over to the welding thing and helped train her to be even better. And then they hired her on as a welder.
So now she's a career welder and had no idea.
She loved welding, and it turned, she says, I'm able to create things with it. And so like I said, that's the thing. You start as a warehouse assistant, you find this out, just like you're starting at the front desk. One thing leads to the next, and now you have a career.
Kurt Madden, that's all the time we have, and I appreciate you being on the program. I've always wanted to have you on, and
it's great to be here.
And glad you came and joined us here at Business Leaders. And remember, it's time for the 40 Under 40. Go to 40, the letter U, 40.com. And if you want to catch this episode with the CEO of Career Nexus, Kurt Madden, go to businessleaders.tv. Thank you.